Hello everyone. Today's episode is a conversation with Wizzy Chung, a restaurant owner who is working on some amazing community projects in Bristol. Wizzy's restaurant, Sky Kong Kong, has been something of a cult classic for the last decade, but thanks to a new tower block being built for student accommodation, Wizzy and various other business owners are being displaced. This means a new chapter begins as she sets out to expand the ethos that made Sky Kong Kong so great, providing good food for good prices with community at heart. Wizzy founded Barimigol, a community interest company, and is running Asian street food festivals in order to raise funds for a community supermarket, a real for the people, by the people endeavour. She's also written a fantastic cookbook, Wizzy's Bapsang, the proceeds of which go to funding her community projects. Please consider supporting her by buying this book from her website. You can find the links in the description below. Wizzy has an amazing story and an inspiring philosophy. We hope you enjoy the conversation as much as we did.
My name is Wizzy. I come from Korea, South Korea. I came to UK when I was 22 and I studied art. I studied fine art, studied art at the Campbell College of Art and Chelsea. And then I work a number of different company, but it's not exactly related with food. But when I was in uni, I part-time worked at the Nobu. This is how I started to get into culinary world. But before, my mom is incredibly good cook, and she just cook everything scratch. So in a house, I never seen chocolate in a house. We didn't have cakes, not that much. Because always instead of the cakes, instead of the biscuits always we make it ourselves, and the donuts we make ourselves. So snacks we don't have in a house. So we actually popcorns and things like that we always make it at home together with the whole family. So snacks for us is dumplings. Even we make us, with all of us, sit down and eat together. And the fruits, that's our snacks. So it's a different culture, isn't it? Mom, she hated chocolate. She knew that is how dangerous in the chocolate in the house. So instead of the chocolate, so we just eat a really fresh food. And I remember that we have a lot of the fruits in the house. That's them. And when I was working in the Nobu, I used to work in the floor. Then I was so exhausted, so I asked them to work in the kitchen for temporary and helping. So I'm not chef, but I can help them. And they says, yeah, you can do salad. So I started in the salad section, and then I moved to the tempura sections. So I really don't want to, work in the floor. So I moved in the kitchen. Then, Nobu London is one of the really busiest restaurant in the world. It's not just simple, it's very busy. And I enjoyed. And after I graduated uni, and also I work in a couple of different companies. So my sister asked me, why don't you open up the restaurant in London? So that's how I started my first restaurant. So experience with working in the Nobu and Hakkasan or elsewhere restaurant. And I went to Korea to learn in the culinary. I went to culinary school, but temporary. And I learned the basic things, as well as I work in the Korean restaurant in the kitchen. And come back in 2004, then 2005, open up my place, run for 2 years. But I realized I need more experience, so I shut down, and I work in the more tough places, now more go for French Michelin star restaurant, and then I did London Greenhouse. Then I go stages for around the world. So take my knife and with my passport, and go for India to travel. Then I work in the hotel to work experience. I went to Morocco. I travel as well as I work experience the kitchen. You don't need to pay. I just wanted to learn how you deal with Moroccan cuisines. I just fascinating. So I learn about the spices. I learn about the cuisine. I learn about their heritage, their passion, and they are proud. I think it's more important that they are proud. Why is it like this? And I was so interested to see the people and learn from everywhere. It's like a cooking. It's not just like a culinary college or culinary place or Michelin star restaurant. It's like you just go in the world. You go to Mexico, you go Cuba, you go States, you wherever I go, I see the ingredients in the markets, so fresh and so ingredient, so beautifully. Then I thought, UK people, they're so sad, and they should learn more and bring over that spices, bring over that heritage and proud and incredible food into table. That would be great. So I think I learned quite a lot from elsewhere in the kitchen. And wherever I go, there's a restaurant. If I eat like a really nice food, I just ask next day, can I work if it's one day? I wanted to learn. I did so many different places. So there were most of the places they are really welcome, because whoever is come to the kitchen, ask who want to learn, that they're really like to teach.
I think probably part of the reason why British people in particular are not so enthusiastic about maybe fresh ingredients is because there might be a lazy element to it. Within the British culture, not everyone that is British wants to do the typical boring jobs, maybe.
Yeah.
So that's where people from other nationalities can come and fit in, and then it works as a mix. But yeah, with the ingredients, it's good for young people to understand healthy ingredients and good ingredients that are being used. Have you found that through your work experience there are particular ingredients that are quite really harmful that's still being used to this day in the British culture?
Well, many of the ingredients is that everything's like are surprisingly really, really humble, but yet it's incredibly qualities. Yeah. And I'm amazed by like onions, how the simple onions make people so much happier. And if you look at that way and respect the way, and the food that you do, and from local, your allotment, your garden, growing your veggie, and harvest, and pick it up, and cook, and serve the customer is amazing. This is what I wanted to do here. So we didn't open that much. And in terms of food, I would say my food is always great, and made mistakes as well. But I always make it really hard to present for the food. Many of them come from my allotment and the hard work, and some of the ingredients are actually bringing the seed from Korea and planting here and growing, and the people left over, such as kimchi. The chili powder is come from my parents. My dad is growing, my neighbors is growing, they harvest, and the people left over, I really get mad. So that attitude is really, really strange for the British people, because as you say, they didn't appreciate of the ingredients, how they works. So they thought it's like paying them in the supermarket buy ready-made plastic box, and they said this is going to be okay because they're mass produced. But some of them is like a lot of the hand and go back in the hand and the human effort, then serving you that the best ingredients, and yet people didn't know that. And I thought, okay, British people, many cases I thought that they are not ready yet my type of food, because we're serving the 300 ingredients in one meal. There is lots of the working on that, and they just like picking up sometimes we say in Asia, the food is medicines. So some of the bitter and the not familiar, it's not that bad. It is actually like medicine. Some of the medicine is bitter, but it's good for your body. So some of the food is a bit bitter, but there is reason for the bitter. But I don't serve the bitter food, but it is understanding of some of them you are not familiar with, but you should eat that. Because of the sea veggie, you're not get used to it, but there is a hell of the calcium and minerals, and some of the mountain roots veggies you're not familiar with, but you have to eat because it is good for your fiber. So gooseberry is 500 vitamin C more than a orange, and you never know. But if you eat, it is really good balance. That kind of. So we grew up with that kind of the nutrition, and I learned from my mother. I learned from my culture, but here they don't have the understanding of the general nutrition. So how, go back to the ingredients, humble. Onions, how incredible. Garlic is how incredible. If you have a cancer patients, or anyone have a cancer, the first thing that you have to eat is garlic. It's like a top. If you go in a cancer center, you have to see there's triangle. Their food first is. Many of the people know what is anti-cancer, what is just superfood, and what is rainbow fruits, veggies, and what is the vegetable you have to eat every day. Genuinely, Korean people know that, but here, never heard. So it's different kind of the cultural things, because we are foodie people, and also we are sophisticated, about the food. So in the end, we have to be happier as well as healthier, isn't it? The medicines will help a lot, but always we have to say prevent. So before 40, and you need to know about your lifestyle. You need to know about the food, that how it works. And if you're thinking about especially female, I always say, if you anti-aging, you have to eat the fish meat altogether, lots, and that's the help a lot.
Omega-3 is in fish, so it's good for skin and something the body can't reproduce on its own.
You have to eat at least, absolutely, 3 times a week, at least. And the fish is like, it includes skins, it's like anti-aging. It is absolutely anti-aging. Anti-aging is like the molecular and collagen, natural collagen. Some of the meat collagen, like like chicken feet and things like that, it doesn't really absorb easily. But the fish collagen, natural collagen, 82%. Straight away. So if you left over fish skin, it's like anti-aging. You have to eat. But I also learned that if I just nagging, it's not really great. But it's I just tried to gentle way to explain. And the more important, the Barimigol is actually, my stand is about introduce new lifestyles.
Could you introduce Barimigol for us?
Barimigol is literally Barimigol is a community supermarket by CIC, and we already registered, and it was butcher, fishmonger, greengrocery in one roof. At the same time, in the local specialized, such as local honey, local beer, local sausages, and I think local bread, and that they make that then we're gonna sell it. So we are not going to selling like toilet rolls. We are not going to sell any kind of the dry item, but fresh ingredients. But mostly want to buy from local butcher, fishmonger. It's not about the making money project, but it's about community, and we helping our neighborhood. Independent businesses, we support each other, and let people less go to supermarket. Instead of you buy the butcher from us, for the meat and the fish is more healthier and more good qualities, and not only for the helping us, but it's also helping the local businesses as well. So we are aimed to open that community supermarket in the city center, but we don't have that much of the money, and we're gonna open elsewhere first, then eventually come to the city center. So making sure that after work or after shopping, you stop by Best Fish, you buy the heritage meat. So celebrating of your food and the more healthier. So if you think about my price and the quality, supermarket meat is not a really good quality either, and also it's not a really good prices. So that is something wrong.
Why is community important to you?
I think it's communities. If I do community, everyone get benefits. I don't want myself to get benefits. When I set up the Sky Hong Kong, from very beginning, I told my customer and my staff as well, I want happy, I want you happy, I want my customer happy. So the price is quality like that, and you work hard, you get a lot of the, deserve this to my staff. My staff get a lot of the good tips. This is the reason why. Everyone has to get benefits as well. And
just to be clear, Sky Hong Kong is your restaurant.
Yes, Sky Hong Kong is a restaurant. And Barimigol, if we setting of the CIC, means we want, from very beginning that I thought, I want to introduce lifestyles. Lifestyles means awareness of well-being. Well-being is not about go to the expensive restaurant or buy expensive product. It's about how you make yourself happier, as well as mentally, physically, and also the human being, and you living in the Bristol, and you are citizens, and your citizens are also your world citizens. You have to aware of the climate change. It sounds like a really long way to go, or scientists to do, or government to do, but you can do that at least a little bit, such as less supermarket, less plastics. It help. It really help. That is that we just introduce lifestyles means if you use with us, stay with us in the Sky Hong Kong, or you stay with us with Barimigol, you buy meat, you buy fish, you buy green grocery, you are not supporting only Barimigol. You supporting local butchers, local businesses, and of course less is plastic. Hallelujah. How many? Yes. I had a lot of the researchers for individually different groups. One person a week, how many plastic, how many waste you got? If you stay with me for Barimigol, I guarantee you're gonna less money, and you're gonna less plastic. You're gonna feel great. More important, you did save the earth for the less plastic. You saved our community. It's really important. If you go to the Tesco, they're not interested in you. They're just interested in your money. But you have to think about, you spend the money in Bristol, not only for the Bristol, UK, average householder, average householder spend £411 for the supermarkets. But what is Tesco did for us? What is Sainsbury 23? Did us. Tesco is 45 in the UK, in Bristol. They didn't do anything to us. We just produced more plastics. This is all. You have to think about the other way around. You have to demanding for that. Yeah, I spend a lot of the money to you. I get the point as well. But the point is not the important. You have to do something. What you done for the less plastic project or climate changes?
And I think if there was more community feel to areas like Bristol, where we are now, then we probably wouldn't necessarily be so throwaway with our plastics. We'd have more of an understanding of how we treat the environment.
Yeah. It's not the right things. And last year we had a incredibly hot summertime, and 1 week. The Europe's 11,000 people died just 1 week for the heat. The heat wave was crazy, and I look at that watching the telly, and 11,000 people died in only 1 week because of the heat. It's not the ignorance things. At least you should do something. We planting more trees. At least we can do that. At least 1 year or 1 month, everyone is planting the trees. We can do that together. So whatever we make the money. And of course we're going to make the money, CIC or Barimigol or my Sky Hong Kong, I don't care. But we can able to do something together with the community work. And we spend a lot of the time in the clubs and, music concert and things like that. And pubs also is important for the lifestyles as well. But one point that we all guilty about the community work and guilty about climate change, but thing is that we don't know how. Some of the people completely ignorance and the things like, but they also conscious about that. Yeah. But they didn't know. What I learned from South Korea, where I come from, South Korea climate change, and not only climate change, the recycling is actually the world best. Food waste is like 95%. And they collect every day. They separate every day, wash and crush them, and make the mold, and they send it straight away. The paper go to paper company, and can shrink, wash, shrink. Then they send it to aluminium companies. So they do really, really fast and really, really good job. But also they made a mistake, a few things as well. Renewable energy, so we need to learn from UK. So we needed to connect it with the world. And some of the things we learned from Korea, some of the Britain doing really well, we teach them how to do. And this is, I thought, this is more important. And getting old, and I aware of the social issues, and think it's like a supermarket. I just come from South Korea, that once upon a time it was a so poor country. Then I look at why they have so many of them, and then no one complain about that. There is more to the building on that supermarket. They are preparing more to open. No one go to the demonstrations. South Korea, never. If you don't more open, they go in the demonstration. No more, no more, no more. Because we have to support the local businesses. We have to support it for. We don't need a supermarket. It's this paradigm. It's just a social structure is different. The people I found, why I related with community work is, I thought many years ago, I was wondering of why Britons the people take a lot of the drugs. In Asia, we have much easier access, but we don't do. It's different. It's also different, the society and the structures and the history. One thing I found is different is UK, you don't have many nighttime lifestyles. Nighttime lifestyle here is drugs or the music concert or gig like that. In Asia, life nights is night markets, 24 hours restaurant, 24 hours karaoke pubs, not even expensive. There is a lot of safe places nighttime. Even 2 o'clock in the morning, many of the young people, they still have a flow of energy. 4 o'clock in the morning, they still have the flow of energy after club. They need to have really good food, not for the, dosi kebabs and the factory food. So people grab in the morning, they eat something, but it wasn't really tasty. So it's like you eat, but it's not really tasty. Then they grab in the more better stuff, alcohol, drugs. So it's like on and on the life. And then people suffering from mental problems and taking more drugs, and people more suffering from that depressions. I think it's related with the food. The food sounds like independent. You don't need more restaurant in after 12. I don't think so. I think we need a more good, really good restaurant. We don't need to say restaurant, even it's like a really nice kind of the small places selling in the really, a simple food, but tasty, like markets. I think definitely we need. That is I thought there's a social structure issue missing in this country.
So with Barimigol, do you have a team around you? Who's
Only
involved?
Volunteers.
You need volunteers.
Only volunteers so far.
Okay.
So mostly I work, and only the student, and these two is working at the moment.
Okay.
Rest other people is too busy.
Yes.
But the time to time I ask the people to, volunteer work, so they do help as well.
It's busy. It's difficult because everyone's living their busy lives, right? And
Yeah.
everyone's trying to do their own stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard to get that together.
But hopefully, as time progresses, all of these individual projects start connecting up, and it just becomes one unified community where it's not under the label of any one particular thing. It's just this global.
All connected. Actually.
It's a collective community.
Yeah.
It's a community of communities.
Yeah.
And we just have to keep going with that, because otherwise, when met up against the obstacles, you've come up against so many obstacles, and perhaps you can speak to that with funding from, councils and the obstacles they put in your way in terms of licensing and etc. It's very easy to lose your momentum, and it's almost like the system is designed to encourage apathy, whereas it takes strong people to push through. And that's what I admire in you, is that you have that resilience to keep going, because it requires people to keep going.
I really don't understand why the Bristol licensing department is so slow, as well as so not really helping, and I just so annoyed. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna take your name. The next time I'm gonna really complain. So if I complain, you're not going to accept. So I'm gonna ask the people, let's send 10 or 100 email to complain email to. Goodness gracious, it's these simple things that they could make it difficult, but it doesn't really make it.
Why do you think
they're just
making it different?
systematically slow?
Okay.
Perhaps the system isn't the same as other areas in the world, and we just have this huge, maybe it's a backlog of everything.
I think at this time it's like Easter holidays, so one of the reasons why they had a slow response. And I sent the email to them nearly 2 weeks ago, and I still didn't get it. Normally 10 days is they have pretty much everything, but I was busy to the licensing is not really importantly delay. I presume, but that is not the really right things. So I really wanted to one day. They never answer. Email they send, I don't know how many email I send. They slowly reply that I said I never imagined that it's that much in the slow things. Anyway, that's another kind of the part of that. But I think the matter is if you some of the CIC, they are so lucky that they have the grant as well as donations and the money, so they can hire the people and do it. And before I setting up my one, and I had a little bit of the research of the Bristol as well. Some of the big organizations doing so much better than others, and they got the really great funding as well. Believe, surprisingly, in Bristol itself, there is a 250 CIC and the charity. And my point is why we don't have really good street food and really good food, and no one else in the selling the £3 for the really good quality of the food. There is you said it's about the 250. But what they do, where is the money go to? I really did. I don't even have any, but I did for the street food last year, and it was with the volunteers. We feed off the more than 300 to 400 people, and with the 2 chefs, and we did. And why? So in the means, the system is. There is a lot. CIC is known as really good community work, and they get the funding from government, but they utilize the money. It's not the right equally. Some people thought it's important for disabled people. There is fair enough, and vulnerable young people as well, and homeless people. But look at that; it's a huge figure. How many vulnerable people you serving, and how much you need it for? That's the chef point. I can see that. And you said it's disabled to young, vulnerable young people. How many of them you serve? This is what I wanted to know. So it has to be equally everyone. There is 250 charities. Some people none. Some people lots. We needed to know divided.
Transparency
is for incomes and funding and how they use. But some of the CIC like us, we made 3 documentary, and with the volunteers, we did 3 cookbooks, still one done, and the 2 is on the way, but pretty much done. It was like without the fundings. We did street food, we did £1 lunch, and we made a business plan for showcases of the 24 hours restaurants. So also, that's all we done without any fund. So that is the council needed to know. You have right to decisions. I don't mind, but you see, there is the people desperately need money, and that they can do far more than you ever think. That's the we have to say to council. Look, when it's economic is bad, people rely on too much supermarket, and their incomes, the supermarket is rocket high than before even COVID. Because when it's the economic is bad, people not go to the restaurant, they go to supermarket more. So I thought street food is more important in that case, because people needed to fresh food and not rely on the package of the ready-made food from supermarket. So if you look at that, if you care for the community, you have the limited budget. And the council must think about what is important. I thought when it's economic really bad, we have to organize more street food and more like really good quality. Most of the food festival they charge quite a lot, £7, £8, £11, but a tiny bit, and they're not even good. That's the wrong things. So you have to. What I want is like even £1 to start with, and the £4 average, and the people can try. There's so many different food. That's the important.
You mentioned your cookbook. Could you speak some more on that? How you got it off the ground and what it's serving?
Yeah. First cookbook was celebrating, like a entertaining cookbook. So I choose 13 countries' cuisines, and I when I wrote into this one a while ago, and I just writing inspired Martha Stewart and Americans, like Delia Smith in a way, in Americans, and she did a number of the celebrating the cookbook, and then I really enjoyed. And not only for the Europeans, so I thought it's like something skip out Italians, skip out Indians, but elsewhere, like one cookbook every country that you fascinating. Such as 1 week, you have French, you have the Mediterranean, you have Persian, you have Thailand, you have Malaysians, the Japanese and the Koreans is all together, and not only for the cuisines, but beautifully done and the shortcut, and impress your friends, and a bit of the history. So you can cook the Japanese, you can cook in the Korean food, then you put down in the food and explain about their culture. Korean people particularly like kimchi, and the story about the kimchi, story about their national hero. So make the educations. So my favorite part is what if I can put history, food, education all together in a one cookbook. It's gonna be boring, and I thought, oh yeah, something that I can make it really fun as well as interesting, and the people enjoyed. So picking up the 16th century. So start with England, 16th century UK, England. Elizabeth I, she's an important figure of the history person, isn't he? And start with that, and what happens in France at that time. What happens in South Korea and Japan, because at that time we had war. So when in the England have a war with Spain, we had a war with Japan. So that is how the chili got into Korea, and the sweet potato, and that is how the kimchi made. So that is the world is spinning around. So idea is not only for fabulous food, and how much you guys know about the South Korea history. Same things, how much we know about the Japanese history. So what if we know a little bit about their history and that they are related with the food, people are going to be really impressed of. So if you say about the Boston Tea Party, to some of the country they're mentioning about you're related with the tea, how you guys is obsessed, obsessed of the tea, then you make the war, then American is independent. It's going to be a really interesting subject. So I decided something their war, something the history, something that related with the food. Who the one that brought chili and the tomatoes into Europe? Queen Isabella, Spain. 100 years ago, before the Elizabeth I. So she's a really important figure in Spain's history as well. But that so this is a kind of interesting knowledge. But more important, we learn from another country. We learn. So that is the charity fund raised. And this money going to open up the supermarket. So I have a brilliant idea of the community supermarket. I know it's not easy to get the money from grant in the government. So instead of the waiting, instead of annoying, I decided let's make the cookbook, let's make the kimchi to sell it, raise up the money, street food, let's make a campaign, and we raise up the money, and then small money, then we can borrow the money from bank, then we can open up. Hallelujah. So, instead of the complaint, I don't want to complain. I do complain as well, but just carry on and just don't stop it. And the council didn't help, but it doesn't really matter. And no one donations to me. It doesn't matter. If you believe it is worth it, it's not really matter. It's about now. This Kaikong is going to be finished by soon, so I have more time, so I can really, really focus on the community work. So It is education. So all the journey that I did for research, and research from another country, research in this country, and it is about try not to nagging other people. I tried to understand, and I asked them to let's do it together. The community work and the open up the Barimigol, it's not about another business is open. It's about how we're gonna reduce of the plastic, how we're gonna reduce to go less supermarkets. That's my main kind of the concerning about that.
To go to change subjects, how can we collectively make the world a better place, in your opinion?
Oh my God, everyone have to work hard on their part, but exchanged with artists, I think supporting artists is going to be really, really important. And just recently, I decided I'm going to support many of the artists. And we did artist night in here as well, that we organized a few times. So we invited artists such as musicians, writers, filmmakers, and the graffiti artists and the chef, and all together sit down and we talk about. And because I really related with a lot of the social issues as well. And that social issues, the first person actually picking up speaking is actually artist. They make issue about the social issue to make the films, make the movies, make the dramas, make the writers writing the story about that, and they let them speak, and they let them speak with the wrong things, and if the government are doing wrong things, and that they speak climate change and the people not doing well, and that they can pick it up as well. So collaborated with another artist, another country, it is important, I think. If after COVID, many of the country, they are becoming the more selfish, isn't it? They start making the war, and they make more power games get into, and if we are not artists and individually not come across in the exchange, the world is going to be more isolated, more like gaps, and in the end, poor countries are more suffering because of the bullying of
Yes, I think
big companies, big countries.
I think working hard is key to making the world a better place, and not giving in to not saying someone else will do it. We all need to take responsibility in making the world better, and however we see fit, there should be a lot of work put into that. So I agree. We all need to work hard for that.
But the trouble is, with so many people busy with a 9-to-5 job, and got 3 kids at home, it's that old story of how does that person who has spent 8 hours of their day frantically working in an office or something, and then gets home and then has to deal with their children, and then they might get 20 to 40 minutes of like downtime just before bed, and then they have to go all over again. Is there how does one reach people who are stuck in that loop, and is there any way out for them?
I don't think I can able to answer that question. Is many cases of the after 30, after 40, we have that kind of the life stack. When whatever you work in the company, you can't escape of that 8 hours for 5 days of work. You can't. And individually, how you gonna manage to your life better? Because I've been through that kind of the experiences as well, because otherwise it's really hard to physically tired, honestly, and you don't have time to think. But sometimes when you have choices of to quit the job and do something, but some of the cases that you can't do that. The chef world is actually, we are quite flexible. You work in the 2 years in one company, and quit the job and find another job is really easy. We don't have any problem with getting job actually. But some of the work, it's not that kind of the environment, isn't it? It's not easy. I think you have to keep yourself what you want, such as always some people ask me what you want in the future. That I couldn't able to answer what I want honestly. I'm looking for my job. I'm looking for my job is I'm looking for what I want in the future. I think some years back that I decided what I want is I want a better person. That is all of the answer for.
To be a better person.
Yeah. I want to be a better person. It's money things like it not really matter to me. As long as I work hard, I know I can make the money. And how you spend the money is more important than how much you earn. Some people, my age is, I met a lot of the people, my friends, is some of them, in a way that they're successful, their job, their promotions and things like the financially is okay. But none of them is like really, really happy, really, really admired. I feel like, what have you done in your life? You should have done something. And it is encouragement. Some people get there early, some people get there late as well. But when I say I want a better person, is I want to be a useful person, not only for the making my own money to or support myself or buying expensive products, but I want to educate people. I want people think, you deserve the better than who you are. And you deserve to think as a better human being than being selfish. I think is you can learn from religious, you can learn from your friends as well, you can learn from your travel. But travels also, I travel quite a lot, and the travel go and take a photo, put that in Instagram. What is exciting about your life? But more important is you are a really great person. You have to trust, you have to believe, and doing something that is really matter. So then if you look at that, you don't really comparison to others. My friends has a huge car, but it doesn't mean anything to me. When I'm meeting with them, I don't have any issue with that. It's not the comparisons, because their happiness, my happiness is so much different. Then they look at me like you are really happy, you are really controlled, you are really, oh my God, what have you done? And they always ask, why don't you sell your cookbook by yourself, not for the charity? Why don't you do the things? It's a valuation, isn't it? It's a different valuation. So they have experience of this much of the experience. If I do that way kind of life, you have this kind of the experience. So if you do charity, there is a lot of the people you can meet easily because they are willing to help. So that is what I thought is really valuable. Then I introduced myself. I want to do this. This is charity basis on the CIC. Can you help? Can you give me advice? They always give me advice. So in the end, it's like a more diversity experience, isn't it? I don't go party, but I have diversity experiences of doing something good. So this is the only basic things that I love to do it, but there is more big things I want to do, but all of them is a charity. So that is the really excitement for me to go for. Right now I don't have money, but also it's not really big issue. I spend on it £30,000 on my Barimigol for my project, which I didn't get yet, but that's not the really matter. It is matter is I wasn't thinking until late. We talk about about the relationship with Korea. That's why I'm getting involved with I'm proud of my country, as well as in my country the people who now fighting for freedom, fighting for democratics, fighting for the corruptions for the government, and I just love to support them. I love to help Korea as well. Many of the young people, suicide rates is really high, and the young people really lost themselves. And I want them to come over UK and have experience of this country, how this country have great social benefits, how the gardens and the spaces are available, and the NHS as well. I don't think they can able to get all of the facilities as tourists they couldn't, but at least they come and experience, meeting the local British people and sharing idea. And travel together, and that is the really helping.
So you were circling around what was going on in Korea. Do you mind talking some more about the election? We're recording on the 10th of April 2024. And you were saying that
It's election day.
it's election day. Yeah.
Elections. Because the current government and the new president who took power 2 years ago, and what he did is like so many wrong things. It's not just like okay, it's just wrong, a lot of the wrong things, and he using the power with the wrong way, and citizens are getting really angry. So for one of the example of how they did really badly is they didn't even care about the living cost, and the apple is like a most expensive apple in the world at the moment, South Korea. This is something really stupid things. So I did some people fighting for government, even when we say fighting for government is they might be arrested and things like that. It's like a third country that they do, and some of the country they still suffering, and I don't want to let them happens, and at least I want to helping our country and related with some of the social issues as well. And what I can do, Twin Cities, like talking about a long time ago, and many of the young Korean artists come over UK, and they can stay in the UK, and I can help them to doing their work, and they introduce people and cultural exchanges, as well as in Korea, some of the city, not for the main city, but some of the city they have a problem with empty houses, so their problem with the populations. So if the bunch of the young artists and writers in the Britons, and we go there and the exchanges, so that it's the kind of the things I loved getting involved, and such as recycling, such as supermarket has to be shut down in 2 days a month, and this kind of the things that we can collaborate together and send in many of the British citizens. British government, the Bristol government, they should go to the Korea to learn about these things. Also, the Korean government needed to learn about the social issues, and such as benefits, such as NHS systems is far better than any other country. So that kind of the things South Koreans should learn as well.
If you had a magic wand and could change one thing,
there's so many things I want to do. It's gonna be really hard.
what would be that thing to make the biggest positive change?
I really wanted to change it. If it happens, I wanted to change the corruptions. It's gonna be really hard, and it's not gonna be easy. And many of the countries, their most suffering is actually start with the corruptions. Government, people, mentalities, like some of the Latin America, some of the Africa, it's like now beyond the control. How they started, it's just the law has to be, but corruption, the fighting it has to be worked together. And that is the why that I have huge hope for my country. We've been through, back in the 1960s, the country that we are poorest country in the world, because we had the Second World War. That time is Japan control for the 36 years that they taking everything, and even language and culture and everything, and then natural resources as well. Then after that we have the Korean War from North Korea and South Korea, but that was actually not for the our war. It actually war against of the Soviet Union and America, and they took places us, so they destroyed everything. So back in the 1960s, 1970s, like South Korea was one of the poorest countries in the world after culinary, Second World War. But now, we are so stand up that compare any other countries, and not like in the Europe as well. And you guys have culinary, but we were opposite. But we grew up that without nothing, we managed. But human being and Korean nations, they work so hard, and also many cases they fought to corruptions so many times, like a national movement. So they asked wrong government to step down and impeachment, and so many times we had huge demonstrations in the nations. So I so proud of that is South Koreans and doing many good things. So this is another testimony for the wrong government that we have to show them you make them powerless. So we have the president makes so many wrong decisions, so we have to make him to less power. That is I just thought, yeah, hallelujah. I wanted to support in our country, fighting for the corruptions, fighting for freedom. That make a hugely difference. It is becoming like a community. It's so natural for us. It's like our life, our society, it has to be together, has to be shared. And some people feel rich enough and they are not really care about that. It's not the right things. We have to let people get engaged with them.
Yes. Something that probably doesn't get spoken about on a day-to-day basis is the big questions in life. So the big questions in life is what we think the meaning of life is. Do you have a concept of what you think the meaning of life is?
I do. I say I want to do better person.
That's
everything. Better person is I don't want to corrupt it. I don't want it to be rude. I don't want it to be doing nothing. I don't want it to. It's not. It is about better person is make us so many answers for everything. Which means that I don't want to waste up my life. Some people invited me party. Sometimes I should go, but I don't want. I wanted to spend the time with me, with writing the book or research, because I have a limited time, So that is the kind of, maybe less friends, because I'm not going out. But I'm thinking of helping society, thinking of new idea to people get the benefits.
Okay, yes. Amazing. Yeah.
A big question, no wrong answers, and interpret it however you like. Who are you?
I'm Wizzy.
And who is Wizzy?
Wizzy is come from South Korea. Country was small and poor, but I wasn't that experienced of the poverty. Was lucky enough to my parents work hard and they supported me as well. But my mom was a very strong person and she been through so many hard times, but she always honest with me and always encouraged me. You have to be responsible and don't rely on me. I'm poor. Don't ask me money. And we never argue with anything about the money, and she was fair enough to taking care of us and raise up stronger. But my dad is also very well educated person, and he always just say, whatever you do, have a think about the country. When I was young age, I don't care, and I don't really listen to. But I was lucky that from early age, my dad was a scholar kind of. But my first boyfriend, he's really weird. He's really, really weird. But he earned really good money. He was a member of R&D center of the Samsung. So the company pay for house, pay for cars. So he doesn't spend the money. He always wearing the same things. 95% of his wages he donated to orphanages.
Oh, amazing.
8 years. So as soon as I met him, he did. But he was so inspired for me because, you want to buy a bigger car, you want to buy a big house. He has money. He's not interested. He said, we needed to support our country. We needed to support our country that the children who are orphans, they need education. They need proper education. Because at that time, after high school, from the high school, we have to pay for the school fees. So that wasn't free. But now it's free, but that time was. So if the poor people, they get the less kind of educations. And university fees is also, we don't have the social benefits that time that much. So that is he says, we don't have the social benefits. And some people, especially young people, they needed to. So he the one is sacrifices his wages. But he was very happy. incredibly happy. I never seen anyone like that. He was, but he's so cool. He wear everyday same clothes. I know how many jeans he has. I know same T-shirts he has. He never use that kind of. Then I met his friends as well as other people. They also care about the country. So it's really unusual that, you are 20, so you are more interested with the clubs. But I met the people who care about country. And we have I'm more like observed. And that is that I grew up. Then maybe I didn't do anything when I was 20 and 30, but I did a donation with him. We work, and I was happy to donate it. Then after 30, I was busy with my work. Up to 40, then all of a sudden it's come back to this experience. And it's the same thing. It's like who you are and what you want. That's the constantly have questions. It's not about work hard and big car and make a lot of the money. I know it's not that kind of the things, but also I want to do something that valuable. That valuable can be anything. It can be anything, but unique but also it should be helping the people, not for the one or two people's project. The project that will make the money is be able to help more people. And also education, inspired education is really, really should go. Because some people didn't have that kind of the chance to talk to me that kind of the conversation or issues. So they're talking about the random things. They don't care about the society. But if they have more often than think about, and there is cool things happening, and I sure the young people getting involved. It's like climate change, and the people don't care about the throwing things in the plastic, don't care, buy more things, they don't happy with the food. Then it's like why food is bad, why is I'm suffering. But that is you have to, if you're anyone or intelligent people, explain about our social structure is wrong because we have so many supermarkets. Explain about the gently, explain about the intellectually, and we suggest for the solutions, then people follows. People want to do that, such as remove all of the bins, and instead we put that in a coins machine, such as if you put that cans, then you get the money. If you put that in the bottles, plastic bottle, you get the money. We talk about the last year, water, such as the summertime. That kind of the things we can do that. It doesn't really cost that much of the money. We just needed hundreds of thousands of people writing the letter, ask Korean company, can you donate the machine? So we can do less plastics. Do something. Then the people inspired. And why we don't have the machines? Every country have the machine. Even supermarket, they have the bottle exchanged and the can exchanged. That is, in the Seoul, in the city center, we have that machines. You put that can, they put the money back to you. You put that in the bottle in the supermarket, they give money.
That's really good.
Here, it's like we greedy, but no one introduce any of the good idea to practical idea.
Yeah, if the money incentive isn't there, or if there was no profit in it, then generally these things don't happen. But it's great that governments in Seoul are doing things like that. That's really amazing.
After elections, we should send a massive letter to people. Can you help? And you write, and we send, they send this together and the ingredients, so I can ask them to donate the ingredients, so I can carry on the street food. So it is the same thing's idea. If I open the Sky Hong Kong, I open so far Friday, Saturday, 2 days a week, and a little bit of the summer daytime. So my maximum people is less than 400 people a month. But one street food, I can do maximum of 500 to 700, 600 people one day. But if I do every week, number is going to be more high. And a month is like over thousands of people, isn't it? And also we can give more important lifestyle, introduce better lifestyles, and helping in the climate change as well as good messages. So it is worth it than running the Sky Hong Kong, and rather go for widely and open up and helping more people. And not only for the helping helping people is going to be quite hard, but it's at least to speak out and to give a message to, and to be part of. Ask them to be part of. I know you guys is busy, but at least you stay with me. At least every time when I do street food, you are not just for the helping in the Barimigol, you helping a lot of the local businesses, as well as less plastic. Important. And your dinner table is going to be varieties. So that's the different kind of the approach, not only for, hey, street food. They thought it's a cheaper street food, but it's behind for me, it's more message that you join with me and do something you feel good about. If we don't do, I know it's going to be a long way to go, because many of scholars and government suggestions is quite unpractical. So I just wanted to do practical things. You bring the plastic, then we give you money. And then we just put that in the machine in the street. It's going to be more useful rather than just say.
So we're gonna keep on plugging away with this podcast thing. Try and get it to the point where, because the broader message of the podcast is, yes, we're asking these questions like how do we make the world a better place, but it's also like, as we've discussed in the past, like when we were first sort of getting to know each other, the whole sort of like the inner work, figuring out how to be and show up in the world and not be depressed, not be suicidal, not rely on drugs, that journey out, that personal journey out. It's not that I know anything, but it's something that I'm incredibly passionate about, and I talk about it a lot, and it's framed within a wider spiritual journey. And maybe that's a question possibly to ask, where are you at with spirituality? Do you have a connection to or a belief to any religion? Or
I think deep inside I'm Buddhist. So when I actually really tone down and really sad, I go to temple in Korea or any temple around the world, and really switch off the laptop, switch off the phone. I really get into just playing God, ultimate God, to just calm down and really do nothing, but it's like a really appreciating nature. I think that is I think it's that my mom used to teach me. So if it's really hard, sometimes it's beyond your control, isn't it? It's hard, then go to the temple, do nothing, but switch off in the world and just be yourself. You might be not going to find the answer straight away, or you feel not really great better, but it will help but I think my parents is one of those things is really great, is that they always trust me, always say that you have to believe yourself, you can do it. Even you made the mistakes, it's okay. You making the silly things, it's okay. But more important is believe. And I guess one other things that I thought is community work and helping people is important is my sister. She has really hard time, and she's a really shy person, so she always hold, and she has because of my parents, they made mistakes, and she had witnesses of the mom tried to suicide, and she saw it twice or once, but I didn't know until 20. So my family is completely sealed and protect us. So, but my sister, she actually saw it, and my mom was ended up the hospital, and she saw it in the bad things. She was come to a trauma. Then once she get old, and she couldn't control it was so attacking, and she says it's a bad things that it's a really powerful. Even though she tried really hard to escape, they always come back to her, and really hard. And and she the one is I thought, and she always say, I wish you like you. They're like a silly, but take it easy, and outspoken. And but now she's completely better. Our family, make so much effort to her to, and we just make the joke. Why don't you pretty? Why don't you go to the club and grab the young man and have great sex? Then you can forget about it. She never done it, but we just make constantly joke and make her to comfortable with her. It's not your fault. We just always say that it's not your fault. And whatever you do, we always just support. You have 10 boyfriends at the same time, we can keep the secret. We always just say that she never do, that is the supporting. So I know how lucky that I have stupid, but also straight way, and also direct, and also silly. It's better, not really holding that much. But my sister, oh my God, she had a really hard time. It is hard time. Imagine that some of the people is too shy to speak. If they say that, they thought it's loser. No. The reason why you have to say is, if you say more often, then that matter, that trauma is more lighter. That means it doesn't really important. It doesn't really heavier anymore. It's just like a lighter. Then, surprisingly, when I moved down into Bristol, my staff, such as they are wonderful, they are really nice, but many of them, nearly 7 out of 10, they have the personal matters, and the physically as well as the mentally, as well as depressions and the drugs problems and the family matters, similar things. So it took time they actually started speaking. When I mentioned about my story, especially I don't have much of the problem, but my sisters, and we tried to help us so much. And I asked my staff, I'm not going to judge anything, and more important, it's not your fault, and you deserve a far better life than you suffering right now. And no matter what, you have to get rid of the bad things in your heart. So move out. Best way that you can do, you speak constantly, make the light, make nothing happen to you. Then it's going to be much easier actually. Then don't ever worry what if other people think you are loser. No, never. If anyone look at that, you have to get rid of these people. They are not deserved to your friends. You can't ever, you don't go out that this is stupid people. Because the human being, we're suffering so many different obstacles and hard time, but how you deal is important. How you make it happen. Sometimes you become loser. It's okay. Why you have to worrying about being loser? It's a situation. It's temporary situations. You being poor is temporary situations. You're gonna be rich. You're gonna be financially no problem if you work hard. So it's not really important. Important is who you are, what you want, whole you, not part, whole you is very important. No matter what the people think about it. My sister used to say, my mom used to say, you are not pretty enough to get married. You should get, cosmetic surgery. I just laugh. Yeah, I should, yeah. Can I have money? So I want cash instead of the cosmetic surgery. But that is how you deal with the situations. You work in a company, you're being kitchen female, they always treated really badly. Some people take really seriously, bullying. I don't know about the bullying. Of course they did bullying to me, and then my language, my understanding of the French is terrible, so they make it a lot of the joke, they make it a lot of the nasty things. And we just say really bad things. In most of the kitchens, good restaurants, they are more like international kitchen, means like a lot of the people come from different background, so always speak English, but it's like Spanish, Italian, there's so many different race. Then we mocking each other. They call me kimchi, I call baguettes, I call fish and chips. We just like always fighting each other, but also make the teams. If you hold yourself, and sadly, it's sad, but brave enough to speak out, it will take time, but it will be better. My point was, many of the young people, they look okay, but many of the people actually suffering as well. Then I wanted to give them to hand these, speaks. There are words people listen to. They are not judging you. If the people judging you, don't waste of this stupid people.
It's good not to live to other people's expectations, because then you're not looking after yourself and your own needs. And we don't want to get to our deathbed at the age of 80 or 90 and then say, oh, I wish I did this, but I didn't because I was expected to do A, B and C instead. So yeah, no, it is important to live for yourself and help others wherever you can. Yeah, which is, your work is amazing. So appreciate what you're doing and your service to humanity.
It is just started, so we still have a long way to go, and there is a lot of the people help. Joe as well, and he first met a few years ago. Then we did a lot because I just begged to ask him to work. So we did, but he knows I struggle. So he doesn't mind to make the effort to spend the time with me and the work. So he believes I'm not really using it other people, but good way to using people. And that is important. But more important, understanding me is I really want people get experience of the good humanity, good work is make you stronger. It's not about the money. If I hire someone to pay and £100, £200, it's okay. But they don't get that kind of the building on the relationship and the building on that, community work and confidence. But building on confidence and good work and community work is much stronger, and it's so good, positive, stay quite long.
Something just occurred to me. When we say community service, it's a very negative thing, isn't it? Because it's something that prisoners get given. People who have transgressed somehow, they're given community service, and it's a bad thing. What an inversion. That should be celebrated.
Is it? It is.
It should be everyday citizens going out and doing community service. You're doing community service, but it's not because you've transgressed somewhere and now you're being forced to do something. You're doing something because you see the community, the value of community.
It is actually, it is more important, this valuation, but I can see that is such as if I do £1 lunch, I know directly how happy people, when I do street food, I know how people happier. And even 10 of the volunteers, they said it was amazing experience because the children, they are so happy. And with the family, it was so happy. Genuinely, most of the people so happy with the food, environment, and also the heritage place and the music as well. So it was really valuable experience, and let people know the community service sounds like a really business, but community work and helping this society is actually go back to you again to a stronger, and how wonderful that you did a good job. And that is the really valuable things. You work in the company and they actually work pay for you, but that kind of the yes, it's not that easily get that because of the valuations, because of the humanities, I guess. It is.
Wizzy, thank you.